Hello students. So today I'm going to define about the RISC architectures and RISC machines. So the underlying philosophy of the RISC machine is that a system is better able to manage program execution when the program consists of only a few different instructions that are the same length and require the same number of clock cycles to decode and execute. Okay. So basically what happens in the CISC architecture that there is a for each and every instruction, for each and every task there is a particular instruction. Fine. And because we need to define the instruction for each task, that's why the complexity of the instructions becomes very high, and for that cases the number of clock cycles executing for each and every instruction may different. Okay, so to define such to tackle this kind of the problem, the RISC type machine comes in picture. And in RISC type machines there are few instructions that are of the same length and require the same number of the clock cycles to decode and execute. So that will, if there is a same length and a same number of clock cycle to be executed going to be are needed, then only a few instructions and then only a that is very simple to define such kind of architecture, and this type of architecture is also very fast. RISC systems access memory only and with explicit load and restore instructions. So we no need to use this load and restore instruction again and again, and we no need to take our data from the memory again and again. We can only define the load and restore instruction whenever this is required. So for such kind of architecture, that definitely the speed of the system become very high. In CISC systems, many different kinds of instructions access memory, making instruction length variable and fast decode execute time unpredictable. So the difference between the CISC and RISC, so there is a computer performance equation. This is a CPU time. It is seconds per program. So how many time is required for it to execution of a program? It is a seconds per program. So there are instructions per program. There are number of instructions per program. Okay, so there are average cycles per instruction. So there must be some average cycles per instruction, and there must be seconds per cycle. So RISC systems shorten execution time by reducing the clock cycles per instructions. So clock cycles per instruction in the case of the RISC type architecture, we need to improve this factor. Basically this factor is for my RISC architecture. Okay, this factor is for my RISC architecture, and the CISC type system, basically we need to improve this type of improvement in CISC type architecture. Okay, so these are the things which are important to understand the RISC and CISC whenever we are considering the computer performance. Okay, the simple instruction set of the RISC machines enables controls unit to be hardwired for maximum speed. So maximum hardwired things are used in a RISC type machines. So definitely hardwired things are more faster than that of CISC type of machines. The more complex and variable instruction set of CISC machines requires microcode based control. So that is a hardwired control. We have already discussed about hardwired control and microprogram control. Okay, based control units that interpret instructions as they are fetched from memory. So many of the things in the CISC type architectures are microcontrol based. So when the code will come, then it execute, then it decoded, and then the computer knows that what to do in CISC type architecture. While in RISC type architecture, it is basically hardwired, and just after taking the instruction, it will just start to execute the things. So this takes the time basically. And with fixed length instructions, risk lends itself to pipelining and speculative execution. So now let's see some more things. In a sys-type architecture, we have each and everything we have already decided. So there is a separate command for multiplication, and that is possible here. Move AX. We are moving the accumulator with AX, moving the BX, moving 5 into the BX. Now multiplying the AX and BX. Okay. So in the case of the RISC-type architecture, we have more number of lines, but execution is simple. How? We are defining the AX by 0, BX by 10, CX by 5. Now we are adding AX by BX. How much time? 5 times. Okay. So we need to add 5 times to the AX, then I will get the same result whatever I got from multiplication. So the total clock cycles for the CISC version, 2 move cycles are there. Okay. For the move cycle, there is a 1 cycle is needed. 1 multiplication cycle is there, which need 30 cycles, and it will provide 32 cycles. Okay, to execute this code. For the same purpose, we will need the same cycle, 3 move cycles, 5 additions, and 1 cycle is for the addition. So we no need to define a different type of the cycles. For that, there is also 1 cycle is needed, because cycles are same for each instruction. 5 loops are needed, so cycles for that case is also is equal. So total 13 cycles are going to be executed, and that's why the RISC type architectures are more faster than that of sys type architectures. With RISC clock cycle being shorter, RISC gives us a much faster execution speed. Okay. So because of their load store, ISA is instruction set architecture. RISC architectures requires a large number of the CPU registers. So that is a problem. But it's okay when there is a trade-off between the CPU registers and the speed, number of the CPU registers and the speed. So these registers provide fast access to the data during sequential program execution. They can also be employed to reduce the overhead typically caused by passing parameters to subprograms. Okay, so that kind of the overhead is also tackled in the RISC type architectures. Instead of pulling parameters of a stack, the subprogram is directed to this to use a subset of the registers. Okay, so instead of pulling parameters of a stack, the subprogram is directed to use the subset of the registers. So there are subset of registers are also there. For example, inputs is there, and the subset of the inputs are R8 to R15. So R8 to R15 are subset of inputs. For local variables, R16 to R23. For outputs, R24, R31. So as like that, we can use the registers, different registers. And now you can see here that there is a overlapped architecture, and in that overlapped architecture, if my current window pointer is for the processor 1 is 8, and in that case we are using my CWP from here. Now what can I do? So I can change this CWP for different things. Okay, now I can, if I change my CWP from 8 to 24, so now this R8 is transferred to the another registered location. Okay, so R8 is same for the another process. My input local and output variables will change. Okay, so there is a memory, so I can say that there is a memory. Okay, so what can I do? I can use the same set of programming, R0 to R7, R0 to R31, R02, R31 for process 1, for procedure 1, and same I can use same R02, R31, same naming. I can say not location, I can say naming. R for P2, P2 procedure 2, but I will name same. I will take the same name of the registers, R02, R31. I will take the same name of the registers, and but the difference is of CWP. CWP is my current window pointer. So current window pointer for this case, because after globals we can define the CWP. So after globals, if there are some global registers, then, and CWP is 8, this is 8, so I can say CWP is 8 for procedure 1. Now if I want to change my procedure to procedure 2, then I just need to change my CWP, which is at 24. Here it is 24. Okay, so you can say that this is the location also, that is a memory location. So if I will change my CWP, then I can change my procedure, I can change my memory location, I can switch my memory location, I can say, for different procedures. Okay, it is becoming increasingly difficult to distinguish RISC architectures from CISC architectures. So some RISC machines provides a more extravagant instruction sets than some CISC systems. Some systems combine both approaches. So that depends on the engineer, that how he tackle the things, basically, that he may define only the RISC architecture, he may define only the CISC architecture, he may combine both of the things. That depends on the things, on the engineer, basically, that which type of architecture he needs in his application. So that is a difference between RISC and CISC architecture, and it is important as for an exam point of view. It is always asked in the examination. So multiple register sets are there, single register sets are there, 3 operands per instruction, 1 or 2 registers operands per instruction, parameters passing through the register window, CWP, which I have already discussed, parameter passing through memory, and single cycle instruction, multiple cycle instruction, hardwired control, microprogrammed control is there, and highly pipelined, less pipelined. Okay, some more things are there: simple instructions, few in number, many complex instructions, fixed length instructions, variable length instructions. So complexity in compiler, complexity in microcode. So it is important here. So that is whenever we design a compiler for RISC machine, it is much complex, and whenever we design a microcode for the CISC machine, it is much complex. So load store instruction access the memory. Any instruction can access the memory here. Okay, so few addressing modes, many addressing modes. So in my next lecture, I will discuss about the Flynn's taxonomy. Thank you for this lecture.